Yeah, some people know how to do it and others do not. I think you know what you're doing. I think I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But mybookie.ag promo code bet975.
Yeah, and I
for all the risk-free bets.
Yeah, and I don't really know what I'm doing. I enjoy gambling. I feel like I've been around it quite a bit, so I have a solid feeling of quite a bit of the field and what it looks like. I don't get why people are so upset. And then the bet won too.
It did.
Boom.
It did.
Risk-free.
So it was risk-free.
It was the team under Northwestern 60.5, and they scored 58 points. So
against UConn?
Against UConn. That's what this whole thing was about, and then they were right. So,
Wow. You had to hand it to UConn for all the tough hand that they're dealt by the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
Right, Dan Hurley?
Yeah, tough hand.
Speaking of Dan Hurley, this is Dan Hurley, head coach of the UConn basketball team, who looks like an absolute dreadnought right now, complaining that the tournament selection committee was out to get them.
And I don't know if you know this yet or not, but you do have the early tip on Thursday in Boston.
Okay, so it gives me a little bit more us against the world stuff that I could utilize because, I do think that the committee, has tried to make this as difficult as they can on us to do it. The Florida Atlantic, Northwestern, 8-9, obviously, the Auburn, San Diego State, and Illinois, and what they look like with Iowa State. We know what they. We know what they had in mind, and it just, it's more fuel on the fire.
Well, I'll see you in Boston on Thursday, Dan. Thanks so much.
Appreciate you, man.
You're the
First
best
of all,
team.
where's the follow-up?
Right.
You got to ask a follow-up question.
Dan,
right
are you
there.
soft?
I
like that Dan has really established himself as the most formidable villain in all of college basketball. He's an outspoken coach that coaches the best team in the country by far. I love the Cougs. UConn terrifies me if I'm a Cougs fan because I don't know what their weakness is. But Dan Hurley finding Boogeyman to attack. No one was out to get you with this, man. You were the number 1 overall seed. What are you talking about?
Yeah, they're
You're playing in
corner
Boston.
of the bracket was
Boston
challenging.
Boston's 2 hours from stores.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
And to bring up Auburn, they lost.
Yeah.
Auburn lost.
Auburn's out.
Auburn lost to Yale. BYU lost to Duquesne.
To Yale.
What
are you talking about?
You're only going to have to play one of Iowa State and Illinois. You're only going to have to play the winner of those two.
Yeah, you played Northwestern in the second round, dude. They have one career win in March Madness. Or 2 career wins now, I think it is, in March Madness. The entire school. Relax. Right? The incessant bitching.
San Diego State playing in Boston. So a team from San Diego, basically the longest flight you can take in America, flying to Boston to play UConn. And by the way, San Diego State's the team you beat by 30 last year in the national championship game.
Yeah.
It's what are we complaining about?
He's just complaining to complain. That's what a lot of college coaches do. That's what I've realized. Is college coaches more than anyone else in sports complain to complain.
Us against the world.
Yes.
Always.
Yeah.
Always us against the world.
Jim effing Boeheim.
And they always try to create bulletin board material that doesn't really exist.
Yeah.
There's hard teams in our bracket.
Yeah,
okay.
It's the NCAA tournament.
They're supposed to be. That was supposed to be a cakewalk for you. What did you want? I mean, look what the Cougs just went through. They had to play a good team in Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm.
They're Texas A&M way better than Northwestern. So
Yes.
Cougs aren't complaining. They just keep going.
They keep going. Calvin Sampson doesn't make excuses because iron sharpens iron. That's why they wanted to get in the Big 12.
Yeah.
They took full advantage of it this year.
Although they are them and Iowa State are the only 2 Big 12 teams left.
That is also true.
The iron didn't really sharpen them.
Well, but Iowa State, looked like the other best team in the Big 12, so they're still alive. One quick last soft boy. I don't know how many people saw Mike Greenberg have this comment about, speaking of UConn basketball, how UConn could make the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. Here he is, old Greeny, just spouting out hot takes.
If they were in the NBA's Eastern Conference, would they make the playoffs? I think I'm looking at teams that are 8 games under 500 in the play-in right now. They're better than.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that, Greeny. I'm not doing that. No.
And then, literally the next day, he said that they would go 0-82. So soft. Stand by your take. Stand by your take.
Yeah.
Why do we have Greenberg forced on us? Okay, now he's actually trying to do the hot take stuff. And he can't even stick by his take for a day. Either don't do the hot take stuff, stay in your lane, as Joe was saying earlier, or just stay out of the hot takes altogether. You can't cook, stay out of the kitchen.
I mean, it's maybe it's one of the worst takes I've ever heard in my life. that
Yeah,
UConn can make the NBA playoffs.
Yeah, it used to be, could Kentucky just beat the 76ers?
Yes.
Like, could the
Could
best
they win
college
one
basketball-
game?
the
It
college
used to
basketball
be.
team?
It used to be. Could Alabama beat the worst team in the NFL? Which seems more plausible than a basketball team at the college level beating an NBA team.
100%.
Significantly more plausible.
I would.
We're talking 18-year-olds on a lot of these teams.
There's a way better chance that a college football team would beat an NFL team.
And
I
by the way,
disagree.
that wouldn't happen either.
It wouldn't.
I
But-
disagree. I think just because like getting tackled, like you're getting tackled by grown men.
I know,
versus
but-
you can just get hot.
Like,
You can get hot, and also you would have to.
who
be
on
like,
UConn is stopping Wemby?
Someone with a baseball
Who
bat.
on UConn is stopping Cade Cunningham? People could barely stop him in
They
college.
can stop Cade Cunningham. Come on.
No. Like,
You just got to have a Draymond Green
the
to
worst,
choke him out like Patty Mills.
The worst NBA teams have 4 or 5 very good college
Yeah,
basketball
I
players.
think he went on to say that like there's however many people on UConn could play for the Pistons, and I was like, actually no, there's like 3 maybe
Yeah,
that could
that's
play for the
probably it.
Pistons.
All right. Are the Texans talking to CJ Stroud and giving him input on what they will do in the draft and free agency? Discuss that next year on ESPN 97.5 and ESPN 92.5.
I got some input for you. Hey, looking for something to drink at the end of a long day? How about a smooth, refreshing, not too sweet glass of Pendleton whiskey? One rock, 2 fingers. That's the way that I do it. But also, it actually pairs pretty well. If you put it in your coffee, you want to give yourself your own little Irish coffee, hey, add a little bit of that, maybe a sweetener or something like that. Pendleton whiskey captures the unique spirit of the American West in every single bottle. It's made with the finest northern grains. It's cut with Mount Hood glacier water, and it's also barrel-aged in American oak. Pendleton whiskey is a very, I think, drink that, yeah, you're going to sound a little insufferable saying it, but does actually unlock your inner cowboy. So satisfy your inner cowboy. Celebrate the bold spirit of independence and hard work ethic of the American cowboy and cowgirl. That's how this stuff was made. It is a taste of true Western tradition, and it's always worth raising a glass to. You can discover more at PendletonWhiskey.com. They've got all sorts of different cocktails that you can make on their website, plus all sorts of different versions of Pendleton whiskey, like the military edition. You can satisfy your inner cowboy by purchasing a bottle of Pendleton whiskey at Drizzly.com or at your local liquor store. Pendleton whiskey, it's true Western tradition.
Broadcasting live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios, it's Gallant and George.
On ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
What's the biggest obstacle stopping the Astros from getting back to the World Series in 2024? Some tweets we have here: starting pitching health, recovery from injuries / returning to form. Returning to form is the one that I would pick apart. I would look at here as the one I would most agree with, because Framber, Javier, you need them to be those guys, like to be the guys that we've seen them be. 25 straight quality starts that Framber had. Christian Javier, no hitters in the World Series. That game versus the Yankees that he had as well. You need those two guys specifically to get close to what they were.
We expect them to be those guys, right?
Yeah, Framber Valdez was the betting favorite to win the Cy Young more than halfway through the season last year. So I expect Framber to have elite stretches again this year. Javier, I'm hopeful.
I'm more bullish on Javier.
Interesting.
But I just trust Javier El Reptile's demeanor a lot more than I trust that of Framber. My big question with Framber is, with a new manager in Joe Espada, Dusty Baker, for all the complaining people did about him, seems like he is quite the player's manager. Is Joe Espada going to be harder on him, especially when he has his crazy moments, which he's had before?
I get the vibe that Joe is more the comforter
than Dusty.
Than Dusty.
Interesting. I don't get that vibe. I get with Joe, like I get everybody I think is going to be north on the intensity scale of Dusty Baker. Could be wrong on that.
No.
But the only time I've ever seen Dusty angry was when he got pissed off about Brian Abreu getting ejected.
But in a way that's always constructive, too, with Joe Espada. Think about the Framber Valdez stuff. He says he's going to call his own pitches. It goes for one spring training start. They stop it immediately. Joe seems to have a much more level-headed approach with them. I never really believed the idea that Dusty Baker had ever lost the clubhouse, but hearing the comments more about how it was Joe Espada he was running the show behind the scenes anyways. I get this feeling that it's still going to vibe very well with this team, if not better than with Dusty. There did seem to be a giant disconnect at times, not just the injury stuff.
It wasn't ever spoken, but I can buy that perhaps there was some frustration with questions that a lot of Astros fans were asking also in the Astros clubhouse.
Yeah.
The other part with Framber, though, to go back to him with another question is Yainer Diaz going to be able to help him get out of his moments where he, again, just loses himself.
He unravels.
It happened twice in a 3-game stretch last year with a no-hitter sandwich in the middle of it, against the Rangers and against the Mariners. When things fall apart for him, I mean, they really fall apart quickly. That should be something he's working on. I know the Astros talk about having all these mental health coaches and stuff in the clubhouse. He's got to be better on that front. It's your responsibility. But the guys around him, are they going to help out with that? So I wonder with Framber just from that perspective. But I also do think that Framber and Javier will be better than they were llast year, because I don't think they can be really worse.
No, I don't think so. At least second half Framber, because first half Framber was awesome. So if he's first half Framber for most of the season, then it's great. What's funny, though, at the same time is, to one of the texts that we got earlier, it almost doesn't matter, because I'm very, very confident that no matter what, even if they don't win the division this year, that they will make the playoffs. And if they get into the dance, that this team is as talented as anyone out there, that they can win a World Series from a wild card position. So
I'll be annoyed if they get a wild card, though.
I will too.
Beneath me, you know.
I understand.
I mean, I'm not going to say I'd rather miss the playoffs than get a wild card.
Don't say that.
But at the same time, I'm like, ew.
So CJ Stroud was doing an interview, and he talked about how that Nick and D'Amico, he's very appreciative of the plans they've made, including him. And it kind of sounds like, yes, they're just bringing him in, but we did get reports last year, Paul, that he was, heavily advocating for the drafting of Tank Dell within minutes of being selected by the Houston Texans. Do you think that the Texans are talking to CJ Stroud throughout the offseason about what they're doing and who they're bringing in and who they should bring in?
I'm going to read the quote that CJ gave at this charity event with my guy Sean Pendergast at it. Quote, "It's amazing the time is now." For all those people out there who are thinking the Texans need to strike and go big in the offseason, okay, that's probably giving you a little bit of a pants tent. There's another draft coming up, so it's an exciting time. I'm very appreciative of Nick and D'Amico and the plans they've made, comma, including me. So that can be interpreted a lot of different ways.
It can be.
Is the plans they've made, including me, meaning drafting him second overall last year, or is that including him in the actual process? And I might be reading too much into two words, Joe, here, but this is something I wonder about going forward. I don't agree with the idea of allowing your players to have input. I say that because as someone who covered Russell Wilson in Seattle, Russell Wilson just wanted everything that moved.
Mm-hmm.
Russell Wilson was essentially like, a 18-year-old who's finally gone to a frat party for the first time, and you're seeing everybody out there. And you're like, oh, my God, I just want all of this. I want all of this. Doesn't matter if it's the drinks. Doesn't matter if it's the women or people, whatever, whoever you like, or if it were the Druggerooskis. Like, this person just wants everything. And that's where Russell Wilson felt like. He was like, oh, we should sign this guy on the offensive line. He costs $30 million a year. Whatever. Yeah, sign this wide receiver. You have DK Metcalf $1 like, whatever. It got annoying.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes these guys who are offering input on what teams should do don't really look at it from the perspective of what's best for the franchise and what's realistic for the franchise. I think they just say, well, we should do this. Okay, well, give me the plan. Don't be a politician who's saying we should do this. Everyone can say all the buzzwords, but that doesn't mean that you can actually pull it off realistically.
Yeah, there has to be a balance, right? This is what led to the fracturing of the relationship between the McNair family and Deshaun Watson, is that they were going to include him in the conversation about who the next general manager was going to be.
Which is insane.
They told him it was going to be Omar Khan. Deshaun Watson's in Cabo. Meanwhile, Jack Easterby is on a plane to Carolina, stealing Nick Caserio from the Panthers. CJ Stroud should be involved. To the extent of picking his teammates, he should not be. He should be involved in all conversations. He should be aware of, hey, we're trying to negotiate with Dalton Schultz. If this doesn't go well, he might not be here. And then it could go to who's the next guy. And you can include him in the conversations, but it's never straight up his call. Let's say we get to the 42nd pick in the draft, and Keon Coleman from Florida State and one of the Texas wide receivers is on the board. And Nick Caserio and D'Amico Ryans, like both guys, the room is split 50-50. They're graded the exact same. That's when you call CJ Stroud and say, hey, which one do you like more? Because then he's breaking a tie. He has little input, not just the ultimate decision like Aaron Rodgers has with the Jets, LeBron has had throughout his entire career, Russell Wilson, as you mentioned. He can have say, he just can't be calling the shots.
Interesting. I don't entirely disagree, but I'm also wondering how much is CJ Stroud watching these guys? And I do think that we have seen, because of the way that the Texans draft played out, a myth has taken root among Texans fans that CJ Stroud is the reason that the Texans drafted Tank Dell. And I think because of that, people believe that that's actually something that, one, has happened, two, worked out so well that he should get to do exactly what you said. And, okay, if CJ Stroud is also on the side, just some absolute nerd who also could come off as a football scout, that's effing awesome. However, I am skeptical about that. I am skeptical about a lot of people who claim that they watch college football tape. Lance Zierlein is not one of them, but there are even guys that are in that NFL scout media industrial complex where I'm like, I don't know about this guy, Matt Miller. So there are guys that I wonder about.
Don't book him for the show.
Yeah.
Well, don't book any of them for the show. Don't book anyone for the show unless they're amazing.
That's fair. Yeah, go ahead, Sean.
Oh, I was going to say, I think most of the Tank Dell stuff was like they went through the draft process together, and so they worked out a lot. They would throw to not throw to each other. He would throw to Tank Dell a lot, and I think that's where a lot of the relationship building, that even if there was some sort of like, hey, Nick Caserio, I know I got drafted literally yesterday, but, there's this guy. about yay high from U of H. You should draft him.
Not sure if you've seen him play football before.
Yeah, but if that ever happened, it would coming straight from because I threw to him all spring. Like we worked out. Like it's not even a scouting thing. It's just hey, I like this guy and he's available to draft.
Yeah, it's more about if he knows these guys, then he has a say.
And I think that could be valuable of being like, hey, what do you know about this second round wide receiver? It's like, didn't hear great things.
Or insert any player on Ohio State.
Yeah, the tight
Cade Stover.
Yeah, Cade Stover, the tight end from Ohio State, who's going to be probably like a third or fourth round pick this year. If the Texans want to add another tight end, then C.J. Stroud could say, hey, yeah, this would be a great fit for the Texans this year.
Nah, he's a bum.
I don't think Stroud would ever say that.
He's an Ohioan stiff.
He is an Ohio.
Hey,
he's a white tight end.
You can't say that about the great state of Ohio, featuring cities like Cleveland and Cincinnati.
I heard Columbus is all right.
Yeah.
All right,
Akron.
That's our naming. Eddie, you got anything else?
Youngstown.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Dayton.
Okay.
Yeah, there's towns in Ohio.
All right, that's Ohio.
Sean, you're canceled.
Canton.
Now all these Ohio State people are going to come after you.
How do we not start with Canton?
With the militants of those soft-ass Turks.
That's ESPN 97.5 and 92. Our Astros countdown continues next here on Gallant George. Gallant George on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Our hitters bracket continues, but also what's the biggest obstacle for the Astros getting back to and winning a World Series in 2024? Also on Twitter, Dusty Overnighting Pudding from California is a huge obstacle from Kevin.
Is California banana pudding the best banana pudding?
I feel like banana pudding doesn't ship well.
Where do the best bananas even come from? I truly do not know. I've gotten into bananas recently. No, not like that. I've gotten into bananas recently because I was looking for a little extra potassium in the diet and stuff, to help rebuild my growing muscles and such.
Are you like Will Levis?
No.
You eat the peel?
No. Ew.
So we've already got a wager going on the show about, if the Rockets make the play-in tournament, you paint your fingernails. If they don't, you get 3 baby mamas.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
How do I get you
I do not want kids.
How do I get you to eat a banana peel on the show? A banana with the peel.
You won't. The idea, like the banana peel is the protective case on the outside.
Chas McCormick 3 home run game.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Chas McCormick 3 home run game.
No.
3 pounds of banana pudding.
No. Well. 3 pounds.
I feel like the show could do 3 pounds of banana pudding in a show.
I was going to see how much Paul could finish.
I mean, that would be what, like a pint essentially?
That's a great question.
3 pints?
I've never weighed it.
I've never.
A pint
it
12
heavy.
ounces.
It seems heavy.
I think a pint is 12 ounces.
So 12.
I think. I'm not sure.
We don't know a damn thing about anything.
We don't know nothing about nothing.
Fluid ounces is also different than.
that's a good
counts.
point. All right.
Where are the best bananas from? 713-780-3776.
I Googled it. It said the top banana producing countries in the world include Ecuador, Philippines, India, Brazil, and China.
China getting in the game.
Yeah.
In the banana game. 3 versus 6. Kyle Tucker versus Jose Abreu. Who has the better year?
Ooh, this one's fun. It should be Tucker.
It should be Tucker.
But there's a part of me that wonders with the way that Abreu finished the year, with the Pilates he's been doing in the offseason, and also because I'm a little mad about Kyle Tucker's most recent postseason performance, there's a part of me that spitefully wants to pick Jose Abreu. But I don't think I can do that in good conscience as one of the preeminent baseball minds here in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they call me Baseball Paul. I feel like I have to pick Kyle Tucker here.
Yes, Kyle Tucker advances. Any objections, Sean?
No objection.
Okay. All right, let's get to our Astros opening day countdown question.
$16 ounces in a pint, by the way.
Thanks, Daewon Donna. And text line. God, sometimes we make ourselves look dumb.
Whatever. I know what I am.
We're gonna steal this question today from the text line 6941. A question for the G spot, because that's the name of our show according to some people. More confident that Bregman in a contract year will outperform Tucker after his arbitration snub last year. So I guess we're skipping ahead potentially in the bracket here a little bit. But are you more confident that Bregman has a breakout year than you were with last year with Tucker? I thought the arbitration snub stuff was overblown, to be honest.
You think so?
Yeah.
Why? You don't think that bothers him at all?
I'm sure it does.
Last year it must have. It was $2.5 million last year.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. And those meetings are gnarly, especially if the players are in them. They're literally telling you why you're terrible when you're not.
It would have been a really mean one this time around with the playoff performance.
Yeah. And
just a slideshow just says choker on it and him striking out.
But then all he has says, hey, look, I caught the last out in the World Series.
Did have
it was
some
hit
clutch
right
hits
to
in that
you,
World
buddy.
Series, but
Yeah, well, he had to run a little bit for it. I was watching that highlight today.
Wasn't the Chas McCormick catch?
It was not the greatest catch I've ever seen. Not really, but it's pretty good.
Damn, you sold it, and then you just Greenberg that. The less timing for the
It was
walk
one of
that
those.
one back.
I didn't want to get challenged on it because
I'm not going to challenge you on it.
I didn't want to fight
Especially coming straight off the ounces in a pint thing.
Yeah.
Where you were
Just say
pretty
it with-
confident. It was 12.
as soon as I said it, I started thinking of people making diving catches or just those great catches on Towles Hill. So I
Bring back Towles Hill.
agreed.
Would that help the batter's eye? You put a big pole in the middle of the batter's eye. All of a sudden, everybody's a killer bee again.
Sure.
Couldn't hurt.
Bring back the pole. I
we're-
want people to run into the pole more.
We're
than
at
anything.
no bad idea zone with
Dude.
the batter's eye.
You got to do something.
Do you trust Chas McCormick to run up Towles Hill though and not hurt himself? Yes.
I don't trust Jake Myers.
Jake
to run
Myers.
Towles
Jake,
Hill.
yeah, Jake Myers.
It would
be-
probably prevent him from hurling his body into the wall like he does annually in a comic, looking like he just got punched into it by a superhero fashion.
There should be an outline of
The Wile E. Coyote, yeah. Jake, honestly, that also should be put in center field, like an outline of the last time Jake just went ass backwards into the wall.
Just a chalk outline.
Just be like, hey, Jake, remember, this has happened multiple times.
reminder.
We don't want you to miss like 7 weeks.
Every inning running out to a spot, he has to look at it and like, yep, okay.
Don't do
Yeah,
that.
Don't do that. That's why Jake Myers can never play in left field. He would run into the Crawford
Oh
boxes.
my God, yeah, that would hurt.
He just face
Those
first.
are metal.
Yeah, that would not be pretty. 6941. Biggest obstacle for the Astros this year is our pitching coach. Okay.
I just remember that they used to have Brent Strom, and that makes me sad.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of you don't want to be the guy following the guy.
You don't want to be the
It's
guy
like,
following the guy.
Oh, Britt Strom.
That Diamondbacks rotation is going to be nasty.
Brought in Jordan Montgomery today.
Jordan Montgomery, Zach Gallen, they've got some.
Coached by
Brent Strom. They got the goods there in Arizona. 2010 Joe, I've never heard someone give an opinion about something and then completely flip or be afraid to
No,
back.
this
his
is
statement up
honestly, Joe,
when he
it's-
gets challenged.
It is your worst habit.
You weren't even challenged.
I know.
It is your worst habit.
No one had a
I know
chance
it
to
is.
respond.
It's because I got bullied by the Bees for a year.
You
They
did.
they beat me down. They beat
Joel
me down.
can't-
Like a rescue puppy is what you're saying.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, after the show, Joel used to pull out some brass knuckles and just punch Joe in the thigh.
I just gotta. I
And
remember
it
I'm not
was
gonna
really
get yelled at
mean.
anymore.
Right. And then every now and then Jeremy would walk by and crop dust him. And like you don't have to deal with that anymore.
I know.
You don't.
It was the best catch I've ever seen in the World Series.
What about?
I don't know. You're wrong.
But the best catch I ever saw was when Manny Ramirez intercepted a cutoff throw and for no reason at all. It was an impressive catch. He was nowhere
That
near.
is an all-time baseball
That's my
player.
favorite catch ever. Manny Ramirez is being a total idiot on the field. I miss him. He was great. Also a Hall of Famer that should be in.
True.
100% should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Well, you know who has the second most postseason home runs to Jose Altuve?
Manny Ramirez.
Manny Ramirez.
Yeah.
Not in the Hall of Fame. What are we doing?
I love being Manny.
Manny being Manny was fun.
Nope.
Now he did some bad stuff, like he pushed an old guy down once, like at the edge of a dugout. So
Yeah.
you don't
So
want
did
to do
Pedro
that.
Martinez.
Oh, that is a great moment too in baseball history when he
Just
throws
bring
the
it.
old
That
guy.
was just what the
Don
Boston
Zimmer.
Red Sox were about
Yeah,
back then.
Dude, the Red Sox
I-
used to squab. The
I
Red Sox were
love
fun.
that.
The Red Sox,
Throwing
when I
old
loved,
guys around.
when I was a Red Sox fan, it was a fun time to be a Red Sox fan.
I
I
tried
miss
to-
them sometimes.
And now you get to be an Astros fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, bandwagon jumper, baby. I have no shame.
There's nothing wrong. No, there's nothing wrong with bandwagon jumping.
Right, exactly. I
I'm
mean,
a jumper.
you haven't jumped on the one that we want you to jump on.
I
though,
jumped on.
yesterday. We
He's got-
bullied
I'm
you.
he's
on
got
it.
He's got one leg on each bandwagon. That's
Yeah.
what he's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the bandwagon. I'm still holding on to the old one a little bit. They're like holding on for dear life. I'm still holding on.
Yes, you can walk. You can walk it back like you just walked back to
Yeah.
think about the catch.
But I'm on the Astros bandwagon for sure. I have no
Okay.
shame. No shame in that.
Just don't Can you give up either the Bears or the Cubs? You can give up the Cubs.
I don't watch the Cubs anymore.
Good. Okay, you gave up the Cubs.
Yeah, I don't have enough time in my life for that.
See, there you go.
What am I supposed to watch?
No.
424. Is that math right? That's not.
No.
642.
When I
624 baseball games.
Wait, what? Are you
No.
doing 162 times 2?
this has been just a banner segment for math.
My first math was close.
We went
and then it got worse.
We went from ounces and
Holy
a pint.
Christ.
324 was the number you're looking for.
I went 224 to 442. I skipped 300.
Joe, what's 1 plus 1?
2.
What's 1 times 1?
1.
What's 1 divided by 1?
1. He's gonna
Back.
try to trick me here.
You're back. No.
I'm getting
no.
nervous.
No.
1 divided by 0.
0.
You can't divide by 0.
Well, I feel like I'm still correct. then.
Don't do that. We're trying to build this confidence
Yeah.
back up.
That's like 7th grade math.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I don't remember that one.
I don't remember that one either.
And I got a 700 in the back part of my SAT.
I'll be honest with you. I had to think about that. I was like, I don't know if I know the answer to this question.
Oh my god.
Woo! What a day. Astros open day tomorrow. You know where you don't have to do math most of the time? When you're gambling. However, this weekend, when we were betting on the overs and unders at LaBerge Lake Charles, was I doing math on my calculator to figure out how many points I was away from hitting my overs and unders? Yes, I was, because I couldn't do the math on my own.
What a
So my
transition.
phone calculator was helping me at LaBerge Lake Charles. Great food, great sports book, 19 betting kiosks. Plus, while you're there, you can download the ESPN Bet app. Yes, King of Twitch, my phone is a calculator. I'm telling you right now, that's what I use. I don't need to figure